Thanos #1. I know that you've been waiting with bated breath for this, Matt, and we'll see if this has enough Thanos to please you or maybe anybody, but it is.
He's on the cover.
He's on the cover. He's in a couple panels. Christopher Cantwell writing, art by Luca Pizzari, colors by Ruth Redman, VC's Corey Petit on letters. I usually don't read the blurbs, but I'm going to read this one because I think it ends up pointing out the one thing that's going on in this issue. It says, Thanos is called the Mad Titan, an eternal and immense strength, intellect, ambition, and bloodthirst. Once upon a time, he sought the heart of the goddess Death and used the Infinity Gauntlet to erase half the universe's population to win her love. But the pair had split by the time Thanos battled the Guardians of the Galaxy, who shot him into a black hole. Thanos has been missing and presumed dead ever since until now. Just think of the big things that they're talking about there. Guardians of the Galaxy shooting him into a black hole. You got the Infinity Gauntlet mentioned. Really what you need to really center on is the goddess Death. Because when you get into this issue, Christopher Cantwell is doing something that I think and may end up being kind of clever. The problem is in the lay of the land and the idea of monthly comics, it doesn't work very well. This is a cold open that seems to be giving you more the idea that Death has kind of shown up in Fresno in the United States on planet Earth. Doesn't really realize that, it seems, but is there for Thanos to go after. And because of that, we center on this character, Roberta. And by the time you get done, most people are going to be shaking their heads about what the heck they just read because there's barely Thanos in it. And you really center on things like a Bachelor-type reality show and working at a pharmacy. And that's it. I mean, that is basically the gist of this first deal to set up what me and you both think is death on Earth and Thanos being obsessed to go and get her. But you end in a way where anybody coming into this thinking, man, I want to see, I haven't really read a lot of Thanos recently, didn't read Eternal stuff. Oh my goodness, I want to check out Thanos. I think that they will just not know what's happening here. And I say what's happening. I'm not talking about page to page, panel to panel. I'm talking about what's happening. Where the hell is Thanos? Because he shows up at the end along with a bunch of other characters. But the big play here is this character, Roberta. And I'm like, you start out, and I'm not a fan of Christopher Cantwell. I think that he is nonsense. He tries to be too clever. He tries to do these fancy stuff. I'm telling you right now, if you even like Christopher Cantwell, wait for the trade. I don't see this as already being something to read month to month.
No, it'll be very hard.
Doing this weird, slow, odd burn. But you start out in Fresno, R.I.P.
R.I.P., exactly.
So you end up where you get this girl. Like, you're waiting for Thanos, and what you get is a goth girl who's thinking about this, like I said, like a Bachelor, Bachelorette type reality show that we have to know is going on in Fiji. And we have to find out that this one contestant who was, a pretty good baseball player, also loved the Return of the Jedi, was a little worried that they weren't going to get the rose at the end. I will admit, too, if I say anything wrong about like a Bachelor, I've never seen the show. I haven't. My wife even is something that would be something in her wheelhouse. I don't think she's ever watched it either. So you end up, maybe they like smash glasses into like I don't know, a fireplace. So you end up where she's thinking, oh, last night I was watching this and this guy, he ended up wanting to get an in with the girl. So went to one of her friends. Oh, she likes sensitive guys. So then you go, and this takes page after page after narration after nonsense. And then
5 pages.
Yeah, in this in 5 pages. And it's not even the idea. If you're going to do it, I don't know why or how, whatnot, but maybe show us the show, not show us whisper down the lane through Roberta, who's kind of heading off to work at a pharmacy, thinking about this stupid show. It almost feels like it's one of those like podcast or videos, like an after show deal. I'm like, I don't need this.
Those shows are the worst. I hate those shows.
I'm hijacked. I don't want to deal with this. So he ends up where he comes up with an idea. Hey, most people think I tell them my first memory is Return of the Jedi, but really, and that's just what kind of cred are you trying to get there? So, but really, it's when my grandfather died, And my mom took me to the dead body that was yellow and icky, and I had to kiss it. The end. And the guy didn't win. That's the worst of it, too. I'm like,
she was creeped out, man, and rejected him.
Yeah, I was creeped out. Also, so you end up with this girl, and she goes to work, like I said, like a goth look.
She's making small talk with the other employees.
Yeah, and going, and there's a rat that died, and again, there's things with death, and she even like.
What is she doing with that rat?
She puts it in her pocket.
Yeah, it's weird, right?
Maybe she's gonna make a wallet out of it. I don't know. I'm assuming she's gonna bring it back to life. She also hangs out in a graveyard. There's so many things.
That's her
that
gravestone, though. I think.
Yeah,
Marie Collins.
When you go through all this, he's being subtle, but it's all you're getting. So it ends up being the idea, like I said, a slow burn, odd burn. I feel burned. I don't know.
She still has that rat on her in a couch when she's falling asleep. The rat is with her.
Hanging out with the dead rat. She goes then to this, like you said, she goes to a graveyard, and there's a gravestone there, and it has this name, Maria. And that's not her name. We have her name, Roberta. So at that point, you're starting to think like, okay, is she like, I don't know, is she undercover? Has she changed her name? But then as things go, you kind of realize this must be death. But again, is this a Thanos book or a death book? I don't get it. So you have all this play. This is going to be very quick, by the way. You have this whole deal where, she's there. She falls asleep. She wakes up because she sees Black Hole and the teeth of Thanos. That's the other bit of connection. And as she's there the next day working at the pharmacy, and she doesn't seem to be that into her job, right? She ends up like, oh my God, what just happened? A spaceship just shows up at Earth and starts to suck, in a non-sexy way, Fresno out of Earth. And it's like taking it. And then Thanos does finally show up and says, hey, everybody, I'm only here for Roberta. I need her. Everybody else, you're chaff and you're going to go down. In the meantime, some ladies at the pharmacy and recognizes Roberta as her daughter, Maria, but that's not it. And you go and she seems to know, but not know. And then I'm sitting there like, what the heck am I reading here?
It's crazy. Just the idea of Thanos knowing Fresno is just insane.
Yeah.
Hear me, Fresno. Like, come on.
He's like, thank God it wasn't Cleveland. He's so happy she was in Fresno and not
I've
like
never
Detroit.
met a person that could point out Fresno on a map, let alone Thanos. Come on, that's crazy.
I think Tanya has relatives in Fresno, but they're not so nice. So I'm glad. Like, I was happy when this happened, Fresno. So as all this, everything's just kind of getting thrown at you. And because you're waiting for Thanos, because you're going into a Thanos book, I think that you're never really on proper footing. You kind of are confused by about the 10th page. In my mind, you're like, what the hell is this? I thought the idea of checking page count is a thing, right? Mm-hmm. How about checking the cover to make sure you're reading the right comic? Like, geez. So when Thanos finally shows up and he's, I only need this Roberta, then this girl's mother, possibly from past life, whatever, recognizes her. She tells her to go drive off. Then she ends up falling down. And then Thanos looks like he's going to get her. But then you get all of a sudden over the intercom in a jokey way. Like, this is just imagine. Fresno is being displaced.
It's now in space because they pulled it up into space.
You have this girl who maybe people know, maybe people don't, but it seems to be death. But even so, it's just this girl that Thanos has announced to everybody, I don't care about anybody but this girl. You can't think right away that is something good. You would maybe think that he's going to kill. You wouldn't know. So instead of, say, Iron Man and Emma Frost and Reed Richards and Doctor Strange and Blue Marvel, instead of them going and grabbing her and protecting her, they have to play games. Tony gets over the intercom, which I don't see how it works.
Where's the electricity?
And says, Miss Marshall, we mean you no harm. Please come to the front desk. Why are you playing games? Even the idea, they know Thanos is there. Clean up an aisle everywhere.
Yep.
Clean up in Fresno. And so she runs up and goes, oh my God, things that are happening here. And Christopher Cantwell seems to think that he has to be funny. And I would have crapped my pants and probably jumped off the side of the cliff of what was Fresno. The big thing that she's all surprised, you're Iron Man. Like, no, what's going on here? Blue Marvel isn't the most well-known, and he's like, you probably don't know me. And she's like, no, I know you. You're Adam Brashear.
She knows everything about him.
Okay. And then, hey, Dr. Strange, hey, you, it's you. And all of a sudden, it's just, we got to protect you from Thanos. You try to survive the end. I'm like, I don't know if I survived this. This was odd. I mean, I'm not going to say that it's, I will. It's pretty bad just because of how odd it is. And
yeah,
you said this would be like a 3-minute intro into a full movie. And you feel by the end, you got to do more with your main character in the first issue so people are on board. I mean, I guess if you read this first, you're going to maybe say, well, that was bull crap, but I guess I'll tune in next time to see Thanos at least. But that's not good. Like, you want to have a cliffhanger and you want to have an ending that it's positive. Like, oh my God, I got to see the next issue. In this, you're like, I don't know what the hell I just read, so
Yeah, like, I would say that, like, death in general as a character is not the easiest thing to write, I think. And then out of context death of just with no frame of reference is basically impossible. And this, you didn't do a good job.
The thing about death in the things that me and you have even done, you know, Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah, Infinity Gauntlet, yeah.
What we like about death isn't the actual, and some people might enjoy the character death, but what we like more is, you know, Thanos and how he acts around
Thanos with death.
Where this guy is like the biggest, baddest thing, but he'll do anything for death. And death kind of, you know, treats him like crap at points and whatnot. So all that is, but that's them combined, and it's more through Thanos.
Yeah,
I understand. We'll probably get to that. But in a first issue, you can't do it like this. And overall, hey, what was that Thanos issue like? Was it cool? It was about this girl, Roberta, who's like this goth girl working at a pharmacy, and then Fresno gets pulled up into space, and then
the Avengers are there, kind of.
Like this new Illuminati Avengers type deal. They're there. And the person will be looking at you like, I don't think you understand things. Like, it can't be that. And then they read it and like, you're 100% right. I actually, when we started this, I was going to say, before we start, please, everything that we say is actually what's going on in the book, because it almost feels like we're punking people by saying it's bad. It's bad in that way of, what the hell is this?
I really do like that new Iron Man armor. You never get to see it even in Iron Man, so it's cool to actually see it here, which to me, that's the only shining spot in this whole thing. I would give this a flat 5.
Doctor Strange, he's just doing little magic tricks with light bulbs.
What's he doing with those light bulbs?
He's like, look at me. I'm Chris Angel. I'm mind freaking your ass. I have no idea.
And Blue Marvel, I like him, but where's he coming from?
I don't know. Where's everything coming from? It's so ridiculous. I'm a 3. 3 out of 10. This could change, though. It's just a very misplaced idea of a first issue. There's other people who will have been following all the Thanos stuff. Oh, my God, I have to see what happened. And they get to this, and they get a pharmacy with a goth girl who might have died, and her mom sees her. She's got a dead rat in her pocket. It's like, is that a dead rat in your pocket, or is this a bullcrap issue? She's happy to see us, but...
Like, how did Thanos get the ship? How did he get out of the black hole?
I don't know.
And all of this stuff. Maybe that's next issue. I don't know.
Maybe we'll see. I don't know. We'll have to keep following it just to laugh, but that is it. That is it for this.
You are all weirdos.
Weird science is the revolution. Weird science is the revolution.